YouTube, and welcome to my next video on Braillero's book review. Well, Braillero's booktube. This is a book review. I'm Danielle. For anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's new to the channel, I've tried to do a bit of publicity recently. Whether that's worked or not, I don't know. Probably hasn't. But I'm gonna try and spread the word of these reviews. But if they're there and I can spread the word a little bit, then maybe someday someone will start watching them. If anyone doesn't know, I'm a blind booktuber, so my camera skills aren't perfect. I do know of some famous blind YouTubers who have someone to video them. I prefer to talk by myself because obviously talking about books and getting excited about the interesting plots and stuff while someone hovers around you with a camera is just a bit off-putting. Not I don't mind cameras because I've been doing a drama degree, but still, I'd rather just talk. And also, more to the point, there is literally nobody who is. I don't live with family currently. I don't live near anyone who would stand there and video me talking. So, there's not really a choice anyway. I keep being told that apparently my face is in the camera. Oh, stop telling me I know I've got one face. Yes, I know. Oh my word, stupid thing. Anyway, this is a book review because I've decided to change up a little bit of things I've been doing. I was like, right, I don't want to read just one book in case I get bored or in case, to make sure I don't DNF anything, to make sure I don't quit or DNF. I will read 5 books in the same time. If I get a bit bored of one, I'll just keep switching over between different books, a chapter here, chapter there, of different things. And that's great, but it just felt like I was just still reading the same things after weeks. Because, if I spent, one day of my time, which is, okay, I haven't got much free time, reading a chapter for each of the 5 books, it's still going to take me a long time. And even, like I said, I don't always have time to read a chapter per day of these books. So I was like, you know what, I'm always reading the same thing. I'm always reading fantasy or young adult, which is fine. I love fantasy and young adult, but I wanted to branch out a little bit. So I was like, you know what, I'll slowly start doing things more normally. I'll try and cut down the books. So I sort of didn't put my series on hold, my books on hold, but amongst those books I consistently read one book. So I kind of didn't read the 5 as much, and I'm reading something different. So I've managed to read a book in 4 days between Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? I just want to check. Checking my. So yeah, Wednesday. Between Wednesday and today, I've managed to read a decent length. It's not a long book, but it's not a short book. It's a decent sized book. iPhone size is about 900 pages. I'm guessing about 380 something pages maybe in paperback. I have considered buying paperback editions of the books that I'm reading just so I can show you guys, but I haven't got a bookshelf and I haven't got the storage for this kind of thing. So I thought I would just do what I'm doing, which isn't great, but it's still working, I guess. So this book is it's by Delia Owens, who I never normally read much about the authors, but when I was looking up the book, I found out she lived in Africa for a long time. She likes her nature. She's really quite an interesting author. But she wrote this novel, which is called Where the Crawdads Sing, by Delia Owens, and it was released last year, 2018. This is a historical fiction novel, based in 60s kind of North Carolina in the marshlands, the small marsh town, and it's kind of a bit of a crime case, but the crime is kind of a side plot. Sorry. So this book is definitely kind of more of a character-driven story. It's definitely more of a slower read. It's slow-paced, which actually sometimes I like the slow-paced, character-driven books. I like the ones where you can actually delve into the character as opposed to rushing through wars and battles and charging through steamy romances and fights, and those things are great too, but sometimes, like, I think I needed this slow book right now. I'm reading so much fantasy and dystopian and that kind of thing, which I love, but I'm exhausted. I've just finished loads of uni stuff and I just wanted a slower book. I didn't know this book was slower when I read it. I just thought this is so different to what I've been reading. So When the Crawdads Sing follows it's a coming of age story. It follows a girl, Catherine Danielle Clark. My name's the middle her name. Her middle name. So, I have her. She has my first name as her middle name, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure why that's cool, but it is. But everyone calls her Kaya because when she was a baby, she couldn't say her name. She said Kaya, not Catherine. So everyone called her Kaya, and it follows her, and it's just really sad because it follows her growing up in this little marsh town, sort of, in a little shack with her family. She's got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. She's the baby. She's the little one, and I'll try not to spoil too much, although I will do spoil a bit at the end. So this is quite evident from the first chapter, so I'm not giving anything spoilers here. It's just kind of what happens at the beginning, which leads to the whole main story. So Kaya's dad drinks a lot, and he is not the nicest to any of his family. I think I won't go into detail, but he's not nicest. So trigger warnings for kind of domestic issues. Those are the main trigger warnings: domestic issues, that kind of thing, kind of more physical kind of abuse. But it's not a big part of the story, but there definitely are mentions of probably physical abuse. I think there's anything mental. I think not really anything mental abuse, but physical. Yeah. And it follows her when her mum just walks down the road and leaves, and she's like, "What? Where's Mama gone? Where's she gone? Where's Ma? She's meant to be here with us." And then the sisters leave, and one of the brothers leaves, and then her 13-year-old brother, 13-year-old brother's like staying with her for a bit. Then he goes, "I'm tired of this," and he leaves. So poor Kaya is left in this marsh with this evil dad. And it's I won't tell you what happens. It's so interesting. There are some times where you see character shifts, where you don't expect. It's fascinating. So that noise you can hear is my fridge. Yeah, it just makes that noise. It follows Kaya growing up, dealing with being alone, dealing with living in this marsh town, not living in the marsh. Everyone calls her the marsh girl. She doesn't know how to do things because no one teaches her. And this isn't actually her. This isn't any spoilers. It's obvious from the beginning. People think she's dirty. They think she's wild. That's obvious even from the blurb. It's obvious. The storyline is slowly driven, but you will see her character. She loves nature. She's very loving. She kind of doesn't really get why no one comes for her, why no one's come back home, or anything. She doesn't really get anything, what's happening to her. And then seeing her grow up in this story is incredible. The way people and things happen to her and they change her, and the way that the author observes her, and almost treats her as if she is a wild animal, not in a bad way, but as in she has her own kind of natural behaviours because she's kind of been living in this wilderness, kind of keeping herself alive by just boating, selling fish, kind of doing things. But it's so much happens in this story. You think it's longer and it's more slowly changing. You think it's kind of not going to have a storyline, but it really does. And characters and how Kaya changes in her reactions to the characters. And it's a really good book. It tear jerks, it makes me laugh at unexpected moments. And Your heart feels warm at times. There is also a plot where there's a murder trial, and it's based in 1969, and the story also main story follows her growing up, but the side story follows who killed Chase Andrews, who is a sort of famous quarterback like in the town. He's like popular kid, young man. His dad owns the like kind of car sort of dealer shop, I think. So his family are all rich. He's got all popular social circle, and who killed him. And I didn't really enjoy this part of the story as much. I did like it. I was curious, but I wanted to just focus on the character, on Kaya, because I did connect with her really early, and I wanted to carry on with her story, and I didn't. Yeah, this crime thing. Obviously, it was interesting, but I mainly enjoyed the story, and I don't think the crime part was really necessary. I think it had a good fitted in well, but I don't think it was really necessary. I'll give this book 4 stars. I loved it. The ending, kind of where it ended, it felt right, but it made me tearful as well. And yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed everything of it. I couldn't put it down. I was reading like the first day. I think I read like 300 pages on the first day. 300 ebook size pages. So probably about 100. I read like a third of it. On the first day. And I just loved it, and I felt like her surroundings. I felt I was there, and it was so interesting how she compared everything that happened to her to the animals in the wild that she met, she's lived amongst, or lived near, and. So I would definitely recommend it. It's a coming of age story. I would definitely say young adult upwards could read it. It's not overly intense. I don't see why young adults couldn't read it. Obviously trigger warnings, but then even in some young adult books there's trigger warnings. So I would definitely recommend it. It's a very emotional ride. Yeah. Do I do spoilers? No, I think I've given enough. I think, not spoilers, I mean like for people who've already read the book. I think I said enough. I love this book. I don't think it's hugely well known that people might have actually read this, so I think you should go and read it. Some other books I've kind of done sort of my own response for people who have read it, because I've done books that are kind of well known, or like being turned into films or popular. That's not all I read, but on this channel that's what I've done. So again, I'm going to continue to finish my series and stuff. I was thinking of picking up the Scythe series by Neil Chesterman, but to read kind of like I just have now, kind of separate to my other books I've been kind of slipping through. So yeah, I think I will focus on something different. I was going to pick up Scythe. I was thinking of reading The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White, because it's a young adult book that was actually featured in this month's Owl Crate, which I don't get because obviously I can't read the book. I was thinking of getting it just so I could say I read this, and I've got an lovely signed copy of the book, so I kind of would love to do that, but it's a lot of money, so I don't know if I'll do that at any point. I'd love to have physical copies, especially kind of special editions of the books that I've read, but I don't know if it'll be worth it or not. So I was thinking of reading that book because it was this month's featured book in Owl Crate. I don't know. I have just picked up a middle grade kind of book about a sort of ghost story sort of thing, a wintry ghost story that's kind of upper middle grade, which I never normally read middle grade, but I've been told that there are quite a lot of new middle grade wintry kind of books have been released recently. So I've heard about this one and I picked it up. I think it's called The Lost Girl or something like that. I can't remember. No, it's not called that. Anyway, I'll review it when I can. But thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry for any bad videoing on my part. And I would love to, you know, my phone's disconnected. I would love to hear from any people who'd like to comment, or, you know, please subscribe, like, comment, share, keep the word going. And thank you very much.
Take picture, but stop recording video button.
Yeah, that's what happens when my Braille laptop stops connecting.